Welcome to the part 2 of our program, Power to Unite with Elvira. Kung napanood po ninyo ang part 1 natin, di ba napaka-interesting yung guest natin na walang iba kundi si Mr. Youk Chhang and Ramon Magsaysay Awardee last year, which is a great honor for our country to recognize his sacrifice, his work, his love for the country. So ano po ang pag-usapan namin dito sa part 2? Siya po ang subaybayan niyo sa pagbabalik po ng Power to Unite with Elvira. Mr. Youk, so welcome again for giving us another chance to know you, to know more about your life. This is very interesting, special part 1. At least I've been telling, all my interviews, the importance of the family. And you really proved to that, even as a Cambodian, is still relationship in the family plays a big role in molding what you are today, So we will go back to your life in the state. So you see the differences of culture, right? You receive so much love, warmth, and caring attitude from the Philippines. Then suddenly here you are in America. It's so big, it's so huge. You have a lot of money.
No,
no, at the time, because they gave you free everything.
Yeah.
You were welcome. Do you feel there is lacking there in America?
Sensitiveness to others. The liking is that people don't listen or sensitive to other, and people are so much different in the state. But yet, the liking also is that the world itself, or become two individuals. The liking are not look at the immediate family member as a sources of hopes, of developments, of better futures. People become so individuals in the state, that you on your own. But I think that without family, it would be difficult. Because you come from a family, and you can have your own family. How can you be individuals without a family?
Were you in shock?
No, I was not prepared.
Because everybody wants to go to America. Everybody wants to go this to big because they saw hope in there. The dream is really to be there. And then when they were there, they were also shocked. This is the kind of life that I chose to be.
But I see America as a land of opportunity. If you fight for it, if you want something, you have so much room to maneuver. So for me, get the best out of it and then bring back to my mother, rather than be there and suck into the system that drag you down. So you pick the best one.
Okay.
Best, choose the best school, the right school, choose the best friend, choose a good business and do the right thing. There's so much out there, because big. So when you select the best one, then bring it home and avoid being getting stuck with all the problems out there. Because when it's so big, also it's everything too, good and bad at the same time. So in America, I was not shocked at all. I was well prepared from the Philippines. I speak English. They also would teach me how to get a job.
Okay.
They also taught me cultural orientation, to understand the cultural differences.
Yeah.
The English, the works, the environments. So I was not shocked at all. Actually, I was sent to the Philippines as a team leader, guiding leader of 12 Vietnamese families speak no English. So I was a team leader on the plane. Yeah. My job is to tell them not to steal fork and spoon from the tray. So it was about 12 families who speak no English, all Vietnamese, were part of my groups, and I was assigned to lead them to go to the same direction in the state. So I was have a little bit of leadership role from day one since I left the Philippines. So I look after this kid, their parent, they have a big bag, ICM, their medical checkup, their paperwork. So I make sure that they carry this, and they go to the bathroom, put them to sleep, check the time for them, make sure they know how to eat butters or bread that they were giving on the plane. So when they get down, make sure that you contact the agency to pick them up. So I was given a little bit of responsibility, and I do it well. I did well.
And it makes you feel busy.
I
think that helps a lot for you to forget the self-pity that you have, right?
So I think in America, it's, I would say that the great thing about America is also freedom. You feel it. You feel you can be on your own, do things that you like, but you also have to be alert all the time because so many things happening. So I lived there for a while.
Indirectly, you are challenging your mom. You have sacrificed so much, so I will prove to you I can also survive like what you did, you know.
Yeah, see, my mother.
So it's a challenge.
My
for
mother
you.
guidance sort of a reminder that whatever I do, that I have to justify, to respond to that reminder of her. And you know, I made some mistake. Honestly, I made mistake in the state. I did things I should not have been done. But then it was her, a guardian, that picked me up. When I about to fall, she picked me up. When I about to fall, she picked me up. It was her guardian that picked me up all the time.
A mother is a mother. The instinct is there, no?
So I about to fall many times in the state, but then she picked me up.
What do you mean by what mistake did you do?
For example, you know, I planned not to finish school. You know, I planned, for example, to do something else doesn't care about others. You know, go into business. You know, I didn't pay my attention whether I should have returned to the country. A lot of things, you know, it affected me, the environment in the state. There's so many things happening. People buy new car, people get married young, people drop school, people, you know, do things that would not become who I am today. But when I about to fall, her guardian picked me up all the time, that this is not the right thing for you, you should do this. So, but we never communicate because there's no communication between Cambodia and the US at that time. But I can sense, I can feel what she told me since I was a little boy or before I left the country. It's always with me. So those become a reminder and pick me up. So I'm blessed by having her guidance when I live in the state, because so much is happening in the state.
These are the temptations.
Yeah.
You see, if you're not well prepared with that, you might fall. As you said, you might make a mistake, but her guiding light and her words is very strong with you. It carries you always because you have seen the suffering and you owe it to her in some way. Maybe that's the reason why some sense fell into you.
When I'm about to lie to someone, I stop. When I'm about to cheat someone for my own gain, I stop. When I'm about to do something that was not right, then I stop because of her guidance. So that is keep me straight in line. But you know, I'm about to fall many times.
So how many years did you stay in America? Are you here permanently?
Almost. I returned 1992. It's about 15, 17 before I returned, but I went back again. I went back to the state again, to America again, and I went to work at Yale universities, and that they developed this investigation of crime committed by the Khmer Rouge, so I got appointed by the university and sent me back here again. And I stay here almost permanently, I think that early 2000. And then I thought that it would take me less than 10 years to put the Khmer Rouge leader on trial, but now more than 15 years. But I've been back and forth. I mean, here it's about my mother's, but home is there. And where that I would stop to have fresh orange juice is the Philippines. So I've been commuting. Yeah.
We will continue our beautiful conversation sa pagbabalik ng Power to Unite with Elvira. Mr. Youk, because this position is very dangerous if the Khmer Rouge are alive at that time. But now it's the right time to do something, you know, to do documentation? Because this is your work, right? At
Yes.
the Yale University, it's supported by Yale University,
Yes,
you know. So if you did it 20 years ago, you might already like this.
Well, I did this.
But now is the right time.
Well, when I started, I have death threats every day, almost every day death threat, in person, physically, but I fought back, you know. This is something that you know, at one point the Khmer Rouge actually threatening my sister and my mothers, and then rather than calling the embassies or the UN Human Rights for Protection, you know what I did? I hired the police and went to their house and struck their family too. I want them to know if they did this to my moms and my sister, who will suffer by them, how would you feel I do that to your parents? We all have our own family. We all want to protect our own family. Why you harm others and protect your own? Why you kill others and protect your own? So I did that. I think that when it comes to this thing that I have to protect my mothers.
When you accepted this position, don't you think it's very dangerous when the
I know.
last word of your mother was always to see you safe?
Well, actually, my mother wanted to send me back to the States many times. But she doesn't want me to stay here. And, but I think that if I don't face it, then my mother would remain as a victim of the history of them. So I had to face that and then to free her. And that, now is my time to do it for my mother. It was her who looked after us, who protect us. Now it's my time to give her some justice.
Yeah, but at the same time also to bring peace to the country, to
We-
forgive and forget and move on.
That's why I focus on education. That's why I focus on the rule of law. That's why I focus on the respect of others. But at the same time, you know, you have to put the wrongdoer in the context. Because otherwise, I think that this circle of evil can be repeated. That's why I focus on children education. So
They have to know.
and
So
they
that-
have to know. And then to know is to move on.
Yes.
Not to be hostage or enslaved by the
Yes,
past.
not to be imprisoned again
Exactly,
by the
not
past.
to be enslaved by
Yeah,
it.
I agree with you.
And if you know the past, then you can manage yourself and control the future.
And not to repeat.
Not to repeat,
Yeah,
also
yeah.
be optimistic.
This is the most important.
And also be optimistic about the future as well.
Yes, yeah.
But if you don't face it, then you got confused.
We cannot deny.
Exactly. It's the same thing like my mother advised, just a reminder to the younger, that you have to treasure your family, what you have, appreciate it, and believe in the future. And this lesson also can be your guidance. And you have the freedom to decide and to treasure your family. It's not forcing them to go back to the past and to acknowledge the evil things that happen to all of us. I don't want this to happen to any young people today.
So you can see from Thailand, when the Khmer Rouge took over, you went to Thailand, your mother protected you without you knowing it, then you saw the horror of the effect of being a refugee from Thailand, and then
To the
found a
Philippines.
heaven where you were treated as if you are a person with no bad experience, but rather you were cared as if you are a son. And then when you were America, you said you were not in a state of shock because they prepared you for
I was
Yeah.
I was ready to build my life, my future. It was ready. I quickly went to the school registration. I get a job 1 week after. I did depend on their full welfare systems. I took carpool to go to the factories. I start to rise. I start to be very active in the community. I start to helping the church every Sunday. So I was ready. I just like nothing strange to me.
So when you accepted this position, this is what foundation? Is it the foundation, this one that you are handling now? How do you call it?
It's a program set up by Yale University program to document the crime of genocide committed by the Khmer Rouge that took away about 2 million lives of the Cambodian people. And the idea is to bring all this file to
experience.
To not just only to teach the young generation, but also to find some justice for those who survive, which is about 5 million people. So, so I set up this place, and then sort of like becoming the independent research Cambodian institute and working with others around the continent, also working with people in Latin America, in Europe, in Africa as well, becoming like a hub, changing the perception of victim to survivor to educator for the world, rather than living with the past, we twist it, become a piece of positiveness, of lesson for others to live a better life. So that's the concept of the center itself. It takes a lot of patience.
Yes.
When we start this center, it's rather small, and it's, all the staff have no insurance. I told them, we have to put our life in the hand of God. I mean, no one can protect us, and we have to, God giving us gift to do something, so do the best of your ability. So I think that it takes so much trust. I think trust is important because that's the most broken things of all in this society. Trust, you have to be honest and sincere. And you have to love everyone equally.
And they should feel it.
Yeah, and it's free. I told myself it's free. Why not giving to everybody? Why not loving everyone without judging? Why not being honest with everyone without pointing finger at? Because it would take time, but it would be help them to see our real intention in the long run, and it worked. From beginning, there's so much political around, there's so much pressures, so much thing, but through dedication, through love and sincerity,
Patience.
Patience plus patience. It takes me 10 years to build such a trust, and then to maintain it. It's most difficult to maintain it because people can be corrupted with all this environment, with this pollution. So to maintain the most difficult thing, to maintain your sincerity, your honesty with the people you serve, it's the most difficult one.
Just stay grounded.
Exactly. So that I told my staff, look at this. It's all free. We all have this. Why don't not giving to them and then keep giving? So that's what we're doing, and how we build up this place become so big now, becoming internationally known. Those was the resources. Not money, not power, but I think that...
It doesn't take a month just to have this place, but it took years.
Years.
That's to show you a successful project needs hard work. But we will continue our beautiful conversation. So I'm getting to learn more about you. Thank you so much. Magbabalik po ang programang Power to Unite with Elvira. Mr. Youk, your life story is really incredible, and your acceptance of this project is really very challenging, but in spite of that, you took the courage because you believe young people should be guided, and that history should not repeat itself. Before you give a message to the Filipino televiewers, what are the challenges you are facing now?
There's three things, maybe three. I think that one is a political challenge. Because everyone want to remember easy things, beautiful things. But we can be stronger if we also face the difficult things that happen. And that will be becoming very political. Second challenge, I would say, to mobilize young people to see the future in a positive way.
Yes.
Very difficult. Very difficult. To understand that learning from the past, it actually helps you to build a better future. And the past, it begins from your parents. That's very difficult to create such a network among the young population.
It's so frustrating sometimes, right? It's good you did not give up.
Exactly. And the third challenge, I think that I would say technology, because sometimes we are trapped by technology. We are polluted by it, and rather than using it, we let the technology using us. And that actually
very
dangerous as well. And many other challenges, but those are the three major challenges because involve with parents and children. You know, for example, the first one involved with a parent who suffer, who want this to tell to their children but would not be listened by their own children, for example, or to have the public acknowledgement of what took place, that this would not be repeated. It becomes very political. When I say political, meaning that not just only the people of the Philippines, but the world that now we live in that affected us. So those are sort of the three challenges. I actually used to write a paper. I don't call it challenge, I call it mistake I made, which is 29. I keep counting.
Yes.
I run the center based on question every day. What if I cannot do this for my mother, what am I doing here? So I question myself so that I can be better each day for my mothers, for my friends, for my community, for my country, and for people I know, in particular the Philippines. So I ask myself, it's difficult, but I think that because where I'm coming from, and I have no other choice but to deal with it. But I don't want young people have to do the same thing what I'm doing now, because it's difficult. It's so much energy, so much effort.
Can you give a message to the Filipino televiewers? What do you like to say, or anything you like to share?
First of all, I love the Philippines. All of you are my friends, and I regard Philippines as my adopted mothers. And I'm proud to be a good son, to be someone that you can be proud of. And that because I look at my family as a self-education. Because I use the love from my mom to be better myself. And I think that I always be optimistic about the future. I hope that all of Filipino young generation will do the same thing. Turn around to people close to you, your mom, your father, your brother, your sister, and listen to them. And then you always can talk to them anytime. And you have to believe in the future that you can be a better person.
Diba? Napakaganda ng sinabi ni Mr. Youk Chhang. Although he's a Cambodian, nakita niya the greatness of Filipino people, and his wish is that we are the same. We might be different colors, we might be different in our political belief, we might be different in our religious belief, but what is important, the one thing that stood up and stood out is really love that emanates from mother's love, from father's love, from the family. So you listen to him and he was giving all of you a message that we are so blessed, that God lead us, that Filipino will always be a part. And what is important right now is let the ASEAN country do something and pray for Mr. Youk, Chhang, for his project, so that we will not repeat the same mistake again. This is his dream, and I know it takes time. It takes a lot of guts and lots of courage that he should not give up but continue because the goal is very noble. Sana nagustuhan po ninyo ang aming episode hanggang sa susunod dito po sa programa ng Power to Unite with Elvira.